guys, what's up? It's me, Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. And before we get started with today's video, remember to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And without further ado, let's get on with the video. So today's video is going to be a reading vlog, but this reading vlog is going to be autumnal. I think I'm saying that right. This is going to be me reading books that give the fall vibes. And I don't have a set TBR for this, but I'm trying to read the books off of my October TBR as well as that fit the fall vibes, the spooky vibes. And we are going to start with a very highly anticipated book for me, and that is How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive by Craig DeLuey. I have been wanting to read this book so bad ever since I got it, and I just haven't. But now is the time. This one you have probably heard me talk about a lot if you've been on my channel, but it is about a guy who is a horror director. He finds a camera that shot one of the best horror movies ever made, and it comes with a cryptic message like warning saying not to use it, but he uses it anyways, and it turns out that the horror movie that everyone loves wasn't fictional. This camera is cursed, haunted. I'm not exactly sure, but there is evil lying within this camera. And yes, I am so excited to get to this. This sounds fantastic. Let's go get reading. I am 71 pages into How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive, and I'm really liking this book so far. So far, he had a party for his release of his third installment in the movie series he's best known for. And then he went to an estate sale and found the camera that shot the famous horror movie that was never released. So it wasn't famous, but like everyone in the horror business has heard of it. And he found the camera, he bought the camera, and then he was taken out for a little test run, and a dart just hit his friend who he was out with, and his friend, I think, is dead. But he was like, oh, this is so exciting, it makes horror real. But now he's realizing it makes horror real, and he's not liking it so much anymore. And that is the point I have gotten to. Got to chapter 7, and I'm really liking it, so let's go continue reading. So I have read more of How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive. I'm now on page 159, which is chapter 16, and I was really liking this book. I still am liking it quite a bit, but I'm at the point where if stuff doesn't start happening soon, I'm going to be a little bit bored. Every time I feel like, okay, now we're into the action, it's just one little scene and then we're back to, I don't want to say it's not boring, it's just like slow. There's not the action there that I keep anticipating. So if we don't get to kind of an action-packed bit soon, my rating might drop a little. But it's still a good book so far, and I'm really enjoying it. But that is just my thoughts. So I will continue reading. I finished How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive. I gave this book 4 stars, and maybe that was a little too generous, but we're going to go with it. The last little bit of the book, like the last maybe like 20 pages, were actually quite good. But this rest of the second half was just like, and the entire book, I was expecting something different, and that probably affected my rating. If I had known it was like this going in, I don't know if I would have picked it up, honestly, but I did enjoy it. Oh, well, I did enjoy it, but it's not what I thought it was going to be. So unfortunately, that kind of lowered my rating a bit. But I would recommend it if you read the synopsis and you think it's something you're going to like. But just know that it is not very, in my opinion, it's not very scary. It's not very horror-y. It's not slashery. It's kind of slow. So just keep all that in mind. But I did enjoy it. 4 stars. And I am going to read another book in a little bit. Up next to read is The Halloween Moon by Joseph Fink. And I'm very excited to get to this one. This is a middle grade. It's pretty short. Basically, this follows our main character named Esther, and she's kind of aging out of the trick-or-treating, like the age range for trick-or-treating. And even though her parents say she's too old, she decides to go trick-or-treating anyways. But the problem is no one is answering their doors and kids are roaming the streets wearing creepy costumes. But they might not be costumes at all. And the only ones that are like awake are her best friend, her school bully, and her adult next door neighbor. And I am very, very excited to get to this one. It sounds so good, so cute. So let's go get reading. I'm on page 30 of the Halloween Moon, and so far I'm really enjoying this book. So what has happened so far is Esther has noticed a few weird things going on in the town, and she just got home and her parents were talking to her. It is the day before Halloween, and they were saying she is not allowed to go trick-or-treating that year, the next day. And obviously she's very upset about that. She loves Halloween. She loves trick-or-treating. And the day before Halloween was not the right time to say that. They should have told her earlier. But that is the point I've gotten to. She is hoping her best friend can be her ticket to going trick-or-treating. And I'm going to go continue reading. I've made it to page 61, and I am loving this book so much. So basically, she has decided to go to school not wearing a costume, but she does bring her costume, and when she gets there, she changes into it because her school bully was making jokes that she's too poor to afford a costume and stuff. And so she changes into her costume. She wins the costume contest. But the night before, like on Halloween night, from the 30th to the 31st of October, she sees some weird stuff going on outside. There's kids in creepy costumes. The guy that has this pumpkin truck, it's like an ice cream truck, but it sells pumpkins. And they're out there and they're talking to this voice she can't see. And they're on the ground, like kneeling, bowing down to this voice. And it's all really creepy. So she's a little on edge, and that's pretty much what's happened so far. And I'm loving it. So let's go get reading. I've made it to page 119 and things are just starting to go down. I am loving this book so, so much. So basically, her adult neighbor, everyone's supposed to be asleep, and everyone is, except for her best friend, her school bully, and her adult neighbor. And so there's these guys who drove the apple and pumpkin trucks, chasing them down with like apples with like switchblades in them, throwing them at them. And they're like, it would be so much easier if you had just gone to bed like everyone else. And yeah, it's getting intense and I am loving it. So let's go get reading. I finished The Halloween Moon by Joseph Fink. I love this book. I gave it 5 stars. It was fantastic. I highly recommend everyone go pick it up, even if horror and spooky things aren't usually your jam. But this one is so, so good. And it's spooky and creepy, and it is horror-esque, but it's a middle grade. I didn't find it scary at all, but I think I have somewhat of a high tolerance for scary things, especially when they are very fictional, so just keep that in mind. All this stuff is very magical and not very realistic, so if you're scared of realistic things, you don't have to worry with this one. But I loved it. I loved Esther so much. I also really loved her neighbor, oh, now I'm forgetting his name, Mr. Gabbler. I really liked his character too. He was so cool and full of surprises. This book was just phenomenal. And I'm so happy I got to it. So this one I read for Kelsey from Slime and Slasher's book club for October. And it's a great pick. Thank you for putting it on my radar. Thank you for making me get to it. I loved it. I have been reading Gothicana. I read this on Sprints as a buddy read with Nina last week, and I haven't picked it up since. I made it to chapter 8, which is page 105, and I'm really liking this book. So basically, this is kind of a Beauty and the Beast inspired retelling-ish kind of thing. Basically, our main female character, she goes to this university that's in this castle, and there's a teacher there who she should stay away from, but she's not really listening to that. There's something going on between them. They have amazing chemistry, and I am loving this book so, so much. I wasn't sure if I would. I was kind of nervous about it. When I bought it, I was like, I'm going to love this book. Then months and months and months went by, and I didn't pick it up. And when I did pick it up, I was a little nervous. I wasn't going to love it, but I'm loving it. So I'm going to go continue reading. I'm on chapter 22, which is page 277, and I am loving this book. It is giving the 5-star feels. Not sure if it's going to be 5 stars or not, but it definitely has that potential. I am very confused. There's a lot of mysteries and things we don't know what is going on. All I know is Vad, the main male character, his dirty talk is everything. So that's basically all I've been paying attention to. No, but seriously, I'm loving this book, and I definitely recommend so far. Sorry for this horrible lighting, but I finished Gothic Hannah. I gave it 5 stars. I loved this book so much, and there was a huge plot twist that I never saw coming, and I'm obsessed. I definitely recommend this book. Go check it out if you are interested. It is definitely worth the read. And that is going to be it for this reading vlog. So I read some spooky autumnal books. Let me know if you've read any of these and what your thoughts are. If you plan to read any of these. If you made it this far, please leave me a fall emoji. Anything that makes you think of fall leaves or whatever makes you think of fall. And before you go, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.